What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about fossils, fossil facts. So I'm going to just walk here. This is Down Hat State Park, and I'm going to do other videos here on this park here, and this is one of them. But today I'm going to just walk this trail. The Down Hat Lake is up there somewhere. I'm going to do that in another video. But today I'm going to talk about fossils on this nice, beautiful day here. So anyways, I feel that breeze too. But yeah, let's talk about fossils. Fossils. There are so many types of fossils out there, and they can be found in just sporadic and various places. Places that you would not expect them, for you to find them. And they're so hard to find too. Very, very hard. And it's also very rare, very, very rare that you should walk down the trail or in the woods or out in the wilderness and look down and pick it up. Hey, I found a fossil. You don't find fossils on the surface much. They're mainly deep into the ground or against hills or on rivers, banks. So yeah, let's begin with how to find fossils. And I'm going to try to explain the best I can, in detail how to find fossils. Now, you can find a fossil or fossils in exposed hill. You can find it in hills like that over there. But it's not always the case. I know there was a place in Dixon, West Virginia, where there was a hill. I did a video of it as well, but there was a hill that was exposed. I guess they received heavy rainfall, and it washed part of the hill away, exposing a lot of rocks, like a whole bunch of rocks. And when I went there, I found a whole bunch of fossils, like marine fossils, crinoids, seaweed. I found that. Seashells, not actual seashells, but the imprint of it. And because a lot of it was washed away and when the hill was exposed, I was able to find fossils. So yes, you can find fossils in hills that have been exposed or cliffs that have been, exposed. You can also find fossils too on reservoirs, like man-made lakes and ponds. And if the water goes down, say if it hits a drought or something, it will expose the banks or the cliffs, and you can find fossils there as well. So, and also, if you look very carefully, like in valleys, ravines, where water used to be, like back in prehistoric days, you can find fossils there. Where, just for example, a valley once used to be like a lake at one time, a lake back in the prehistoric times. Just say for example, prehistoric days. Got my words mixed up. But it's no longer a lake, it's just a valley. You can find fossils there. And I'm gonna walk over here, and there's a river right here. Now, see this trail here? They got some of this cobblestone from the river here. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes you can find fossils embedded in those cobblestones. Or you can actually find fossils inside the cobblestone. You can have to crack the rock open or boulder open to see if you can find any fossils. And usually fossils can be found in boulders if they're real perfectly round. Like abnormally, they can be round like a ball. You see spheres, like in the shape of a boulder. Chances are you can find fossils in them. So here's the river here. This is Down Hat State Park. And sometimes you can find fossils in rivers or river banks, or dried up rivers, where rivers used to be, and they sometimes you have an extinct river, you can find fossils there. So if you live near the sea or the ocean, and if the shoreline has like tons of like cobblestones and boulders, you can definitely find fossils there. I know I saw a video not too long ago that they found these group of men. They found a fossil of a crab embedded inside a boulder. They cracked the boulder open. They found a prehistoric crab inside. So yeah, you can actually find some fossils. Not saying they're here, but in rivers like this with all these cobblestones and boulders, you can find them here. Again, not always the case. But if you want to look for fossils, find boulders that are kind of abnormal. Sometimes you can see the fossil protruding out of the boulder, and you can see that would indicate that you can find a fossil in there. So, but if you want to find a fossil in a boulder, look for an abnormal size or shaped boulder, like a real round sphere. That usually indicates there's something inside of it. So, but let you know, rivers can be good opportunities to find fossils, seashells. I'm trying to think what else. You can also find fossils high in mountains, believe it or not, because, for example, this is the East Coast. This is West Virginia and Pennsylvania, places like that, East Coast. There used to be like a big gigantic seaway that covered this region at one time. And there was also look at that tree there. No, I'm not gonna climb that tree. Made a bridge too, look at that. But yeah, the prehistoric seas used to occupy this on the East Coast of the United States, and also on the Midwest, like Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Wyoming. There used to be a big gigantic seaway that occupied there. There's that whole region there is teeming with fossils. So yeah, anyways, yeah, I don't want to discuss about fossils. Fossils are very hard to find. You can find fossils in caves as well. You can find a cave, you can find fossils in them as well. So, see all these boulders out there? They may have a fossil in them. Not saying it will, but they may have something in them. If you crack these boulders open, you'd be surprised what you find in them. You may find a quartz, like rock formations, like one of those crystal quartz. You may find them in there, but you can also find fossils. So, but if you go cave exploring, you can find fossils on caves as well. Let me watch where I step at. But yeah, today I was just talk about fossils. That was my spiel about fossils. Fossils are not easy to find. They're very sporadic. You can if you go fossil hunting, again, it's a hunt. You have, like I said, look for like riversides, riverbanks, dried up reservoirs. So if you had a drought, look for hills where the hills exposed by runoff water, and just there's yeah, I was looking at the boulder there. That boulder looks very unusual there. Could have some fossils in it. I was looking at it, but yeah. But on mountains, for example, you can find fossils on mountains. Going back, sorry, got distracted there. But you can find fossils on top of mountains. Now, they say they have found fossils on Mount Ararat, the highest point in the world. And I have personally found fossils on big, gigantic hills. Now, I think there was one hill, it's actually a volcano, extinct volcano in Virginia. It's called Mole Hill. Mole Hill is located in Harrisonburg, Virginia, on the outskirts. And I found fossils of scallops and seashells up there. So, but there's really no, anybody can tell you on YouTube or on articles of how to find fossils or where to find fossils. But again, that's not always the case. You can look on a hillside that have been exposed and there'd be no fossils there. So again, you got to find places where gigantic seaways used to be, you know, like where gigantic lakes used to occupy, say, a valley. So if you can find that, you suspect that was, say, for example, a valley was occupied by a large seaway at one time. If you know that, then you can find fossils there. So, but yeah, sooner or later, I'm going to do another fossil video, fossil hunt. I got to go to the hills of West Virginia and do some hunting there. Again, you can find fossils here or either beach, either this place or the beach. And I bet you there may be some fossils on these boulders. But that's my spiel about fossil facts. Fossils come in various sizes and shapes and many forms, and you know, imprints, casts. There's many labels or characteristics of fossils. So it's a beautiful day. I'm gonna wrap this video up. So if you got any questions about fossils, if you're watching this video, comment below. You know, I think if you had a question about fossil, if you want to post it in the comment below, I will answer your question. Now, I don't know everything about fossils. And believe it or not, there was a time that I did not know how to find fossils. I was so ignorant. I got to the point that I can trip over a rock or a boulder and not realize that there could have been a fossil in them. I got to the point that I've actually suspected certain, say, places I suspect now there are fossils nearby. I gotten a lot better finding, got more educated, put it that way. So if you got any questions about fossils, just post in the comment below. I'll answer the best of my ability. If you have questions about fossil hunting, I'll answer the best of the ability. And before I go, I want to show you this very quick here. I'm going to use this for example. Yeah, all these boulders may have fossils in them. See, that's an exposed hill right there. See that? I'm not saying there's fossils in them. I'm not saying there's fossils in that hillside there, or that cliff, or the small cliff there. But that's an example of an eroded hill or eroded, I guess, piece of land. But that can reveal fossils. So, but anyways, thank you for watching. Again, if you got any questions about fossils, comment below. I answer the best of my ability. And yeah, that looked like a fossil almost. But yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and make sure you turn on all notifications so you won't miss out in my future posts. And I'll see you guys in another video. Sooner or later, I'm going to do another fossil video, another fossil hunt. But this video is nothing but just fossil facts, just discussion just chit chat about fossils. So thank you for watching.